What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your fourth stimulus check update and daily news report. First, I want to tell you guys a important story which pertains to what is going on in America right now, an important issue that you may or may not knowing about, and that is the potential of the Democrats packing the court. But to understand what that means and why this is happening and the tit for tat that Democrats and Republicans have been playing with each other, well, let me explain this to you. Don't forget to hit the like button and let's jump right in. You see, back in 2016, in President Obama's last term, a Supreme Court justice died, a Republican. And remember, Supreme Court justices are very important because number one, there's only 9 of them. And number two, they stay there for life. So when you nominate a Supreme Court justice and they're elected, then they basically stay there for 40 or 50 years. Okay. Well, in 2016, President Obama nominated Merrick Garland for the Supreme Court with the 2016 vacancy after the death of Justice Scalia. The important part here is that this happened in February of 2016. Well, President Obama was president until all the way till next January. That November would be the election that President Trump would win. And there would be a sitting president all the way until January of next year. So Obama would technically be president all the way until November with the November elections and then all the way until January of 2017. So basically almost a year, 11 months since that Supreme Court justice passed. President Obama at the time nominates his Supreme Court justice with 11 months left in his last term, his last year. And what happened? Well, what happened was good old Mitch McConnell and his graveyard. In this case, it was a slightly different graveyard. Normally, he sends bills there that he doesn't agree with, doesn't want to pass, which honestly, if you're a Republican or if you're just looking at it as a point of power, is it's a very powerful position because he can take any bill he wants and just put it on his desk and never vote on it. So honestly, if you're in Congress and you're looking for power, that's about the most powerful position you can have. Well, Mitch McConnell did this with more than just the $1,400 stimulus check bill, the Cash Act, and multiple other bills. In fact, the HEROES Act and the HEROES Act 2.0, two other stimulus packages that were passed by the House, and Mitch McConnell sent them to his graveyard and didn't even let them get voted. Well, Mitch McConnell did this with another thing. Back in 2016, when President Obama nominated this Supreme Court justice, as you can see here, but even before Obama had named Merrick Garland as the Supreme Court nominee, and in fact only hours after Scalia's death was announced, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell declared any appointment to the Supreme Court justice by the sitting president to be null and void. He said the Supreme Court justice should be chosen by the next president and to be elected later that year, 11 months later, when then President Trump would come into office. So they kind of set the precedence there. Mitch McConnell said, oh, no, you're in your last year of being president, so and I control the Senate. Remember, controlling the Senate is the absolute power, especially in the case of Supreme Court justices, because the Senate is who appoints the Supreme Court. Okay, so generally a president appoints a person. So a president appoints a person of their party. President Trump had the honor of appointing 3 different people to the Supreme Court justice, the most in modern day history. 3 out of the 9 justices have been appointed by President Trump. All of them are Republican, of course. So Republicans appoint Republicans, Democrats appoint Democrats. And right now, out of the 9 Supreme Court justices, 6 of them are Republicans and 3 of them are Democrats. But what happened last year? Well, we had the death of a Supreme Court justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. While the same precedents should hold true, it was the final year of President Trump's presidency. Although we're going into the election, we didn't know if he would be reelected or not. And so we should go by Mitch McConnell's precedents that it's the final year of a presidency and you may or may not be reelected. In Obama's case, he couldn't be because he was on his second term. But what did Mitch McConnell do? Well, he didn't follow his own precedents. In fact, he did the exact opposite. And Mitch McConnell in the Senate, and appointed by President Trump, pushed through a lifetime nomination with just about a month before the election. And we know at this point, President Trump lost the election. Well, Democrats were absolutely furious about this, and they threatened that if Mitch McConnell did this, before he actually did it, that they would do a thing called packing the court if they took over the Senate and or the presidency in the next round. And we know now the Democrats did. Mitch McConnell lost the Senate probably because he didn't pass that $1,400 Cash Act bill that President Trump wanted. President Trump wanted that $1,400 stimulus check for you. It passed in the House, and Mitch McConnell sent it to his graveyard to die. Well, Mitch McConnell probably lost the Senate because of that one and only reason, most likely. And we know that President Biden is now the president. Well, Democrats were threatening to do what they call pack the court if Mitch McConnell pushed through a nominee just 1 month before the election. But remember, Mitch McConnell said that 11 months before President Obama's term was over, that they shouldn't push through a nomination because it was the last year, and the new president should be able to do that. Well, the Democrats basically threatened to pack the court, and in this opinion article right here, you can see here, if Mitch McConnell pushes through a nominee, President Biden should pack the court. Republicans have put party over principle, as said here. President Biden can do something about it. Remember, the Supreme Court right now, 9 people, is 6 Republicans and 3 Democrats. And being a majority for the Republicans or the Democrat is a huge thing in the Supreme Court because a lot of times votes come down to 5-4, or in this case, 6-3. And a lot of times, a lot of controversial bills that make it to the Supreme Court or controversial cases that make it to the Supreme Court very often go down by party lines. You'll very often see a 5-4 vote with 5 Republicans saying yes and 4 Democrats saying no, or vice versa. Well, Democrats threatened to potentially pack the court if Mitch McConnell basically went back on his own precedents that he set. And now it seems like the Democrats are taking the first steps towards potentially packing the court. Packing the court would be basically creating more seats of the Supreme Court justice. So instead of 9 seats, they could make it so it's 15 seats if they wanted to, and then appoint all Democrats to the Supreme Court justice. And they control the Senate, so they can do that. And the presidency is the Democrats. So the Democrats can do this if they want to. And remember, they told Mitch McConnell, don't do that. It's a month before the election, and you wouldn't let President Obama do it. And if you do it, we're going to pack the court. Well, Mitch McConnell did do it. He said, oh, well, I'm doing it anyways. Now Democrats are actually considering doing this. Listen in.
White House correspondent Peter Ducey has the story. He's at the White House for us this evening. Hi, Peter.
Good evening, John. Adding Supreme Court justices to the High Court or putting term limits on the justices are on the table as a presidential commission examines the impact of changes that could erase the current conservative majority. And they are going to report back here within 180 days.
Before the election, Democrats really didn't want to go there.
Senator Harris, should Democrats pack the court, the Supreme Court?
And this was as close as Biden got.
I've already spoken on. I'm not a fan of court packing.
But now that they're in the White House, the administration is asking 36 experts to study the effect of expanding the Supreme Court, potentially filling new seats with liberal justices, something Biden didn't like as a senator in 1983.
He said he thought that court packing was a bonehead idea when FDR tried it.
It was a bonehead idea. It was a terrible, terrible mistake to make.
So why ask a panel now to go and see if it is a good idea?
Well, first, the panel is being asked to do take a number of steps, including the pros and cons on exactly that issue. But they will also be looking at the court's role in the constitutional system, the length of service and turnover of justices on the court, the membership and size of the court.
Republican Senator Ben Sasse writes what the president doesn't have is the courage to come out and flatly tell the radical left that he's not going to pack the Supreme Court. Liberal Justice Stephen Breyer is warning this could politicize the court as activists call on him to retire. Demand Justice writes, this can't wait much longer. We can't assume Democrats will have control of the Senate for the next 2 years. What does the president think about that?
He believes that's a decision Justice Breyer will make when he decides it's time to no longer serve on the Supreme Court.
And President Biden is going ahead doing this, as you can see here on whitehouse.gov. President Biden to sign executive order creating the Presidential Commission of the Supreme Court of the United States. It says that President Biden will today issue an executive order forming the Presidential Commission on the Supreme Court of the United States, comprised of a bipartisan group of experts on the court and court reform debate. The commission's purpose is to provide an analysis of arguments in the contemporary public debate for and against Supreme Court reform, including appraisal of merits and legality of proposals. The topic it will examine include the genesis of reform debate, the court's role in the Constitution system, the length of service and turnover of justices of the court, potentially meaning that they might change it to have term limits for Supreme Court justices and not serve lifelong duty in the Supreme Court, along with the membership and size of the court. And that is where court packing could happen, where they would basically add additional seats to the Supreme Court, as many as they wanted, and the court's case selection rules and practices. So this has been a very big issue. It was especially around election time, and now will be becoming again a very big issue because the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land and is basically where a lot of the major decisions on the country and the views the country has and the direction that the country goes is determined by the Supreme Court and has been for many, many years. So my question to you is it fair for the Democrats to, quote, pack the court, basically add more seats to the Supreme Court in retaliation for what Mitch McConnell and the Republicans did? One, they didn't let Obama put his Supreme Court nominee in for the last 11 months of his last year of presidency. And then just a few years later, when President Trump was in his last year of presidency, they pushed through a Supreme Court nominee just 1 month before the November elections. So do you think it's fair for the Democrats to basically say, well, you basically cost us possibly 2 Supreme Court justices, and we're going to take back those 2 seats by packing the court? Let me know your thoughts on that, because this is a very big issue for the history and the future of our country. Also, a new report is out that a 4th stimulus check, just a single stimulus check, not even a monthly reoccurring stimulus check that the Democrats are pushing for, could take 7.3 million Americans out of poverty by simply passing a 4th stimulus check per person. Remember, a family of 4 gets 4 stimulus checks based on the qualifications from the 3rd stimulus check, where children and adult dependents got a stimulus check. So the 3rd stimulus check of $1,400 meant $5,600 for a family of 4. The lowest amount being tossed around right now for Democrats is $2,000. So a family of 4 would actually receive $8,000. And strangely enough, that's actually not the largest stimulus check. The $3,000 to $3,600 child income tax credits, which is the same thing as a stimulus check. The IRS is going to be paying them out in monthly or quarterly payments of $250 to $300 per month per child starting as early as July. That's actually larger. We're looking at $3,000 to $3,600 per child with no limit. As long as you have a Social Security number and make less than $150,000, there's no limit. You can have 10 children and get 10 of those for $30,000 to $36,000. Now, of course, that gets paid to the parent, the dependent. It doesn't get paid to a 2-year-old or a 5-year-old. But could they increase stimulus checks for this next round, this fourth stimulus package, the infrastructure package? Well, the pressure is mounting on President Biden as Democrats are basically growing in numbers every single day to include a fourth stimulus check in the next package. And even more so, it's more than just a fourth stimulus check. And the number continues to grow by the day of more and more Democrats that are coming on board and saying to President Biden to include a fourth stimulus check or monthly recurring stimulus checks in the next package. About half of the Democrats in the Senate want more than just a single stimulus check, but actually want monthly recurring stimulus checks. And we actually have a bill from the Senate for exactly that, which is a bill from Senator Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren for $2,000 monthly stimulus checks until the pandemic is over, which at the absolute earliest would be the end of the year, December 31st. So you're still looking at 7 more payments of stimulus checks of potentially $2,000 per month if they were to pass this bill from the senators, as you can see here. The House of Representatives, again, has its own bill for a one-time $2,000 stimulus check and then $1,000 monthly recurring payments. But this time, the bill from the House of Representatives is to go until 1 year after the pandemic. So again, the earliest that is likely to be the pandemic declared over, the absolute earliest, would be the end of this year. This would give you $1,000 payments every month until the end of next year, 2022. So basically a full year and a half or more. And the Senate parliamentarian ruled that the Democrats can pass at least 2 more bills or 2 more packages this year with the reconciliation process, which means they can pass these packages completely on their own without any Republican support, just like the Republicans did back in 2017 with the Trump tax cuts. They passed it through reconciliation process, which means you only need 50 or 51 votes in the Senate to pass the bill. The Senate parliamentarian ruled that this can now be done at least with 2 more stimulus packages this year, giving the green light to the Democrats to pass the next infrastructure package and stimulus package with anything they want in the package, including, if they want, monthly recurring stimulus checks. In last night's video, I was thrilled to introduce to you direct communication solutions. Well, the question I asked myself is, why now? Why is this important to share today? And here's my answer, so please follow closely. How does one know how much your home is worth? Well, normally you would go to an agent or an appraiser and have them give you an estimate, and this is done by pulling comps. In a nutshell, they look at what similar homes have sold for or are listed for in recent days. Well, I pulled comps for direct communication solutions, you could say, which is stock symbol DCSX. There's another company called Sensata Technologies, which just in February announced the acquisition of another company called Zergo Technologies for $400 million, or approximately 16 times their 2021 EBITDA earnings. If we look at DCSX revenues for the full fiscal year of 2020, we see that the bottom line was around US $16 million at a price to revenue multiple of just 4, which was what Sensata used to acquire Zergo. This puts the hypothetical valuation at $64 million using 2020 figures. The company's current market cap is $23 million. I'll say that again and leave it at that. A company which is comparable to DCSX, which I explained to you in last night's 11 p.m. Eastern show, was sold for 4 times revenue. If DCSX was valued for that same metric, it would be worth more than 100% more than today's share price. Look at the description down below. There's a link for you to download an exclusive free report and the relationship with this sponsor of this show. Or you can click this video to learn more about the company in last night's stimulus check episode. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.